Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Hacked in the Dark. Today we are playing Vergence by Dave, just below. We were gone last week, so we'll do a quick recap of what was going on and introduce ourselves. My name is Jacob, and I'll be playing Hrolf. And I just stole the statue I have been seeking, and was hoping to replace it with a duplicate, and it got uh, tossed into the abyss.
Tossed somewhere. You're not sure exactly where.
Right, yep. Who else do we have?
Blame Valriaut.
Yeah.
I'm Valriaut, so you can blame me. I'm Drake. I'm playing the adept Valriaut.
I'm Navi, and I'm playing Ananke. When we left off, she got to have a little kerfuffle with a demon, and now she's off to save a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And I am Agorus, or Travis, myself, playing Agorus. And we just encountered a handful of demons last session, as Navi mentioned, which, to my chagrin, mostly got away. Valriaut helped. He definitely sent them to a different dimension. Not what I wanted.
It was good in a pinch, and there's one that's blind, and there's one that got stabbed, and like overall, I think we'd still count it as a win.
Yeah.
A glorious victory.
Net win.
Definitely a win for letting all those demons escape.
Yeah. It's a Hrolf win, which is a bad one.
Fictionally, the worst kind of win.
Depends on your point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, hi, I'm David. I'm the GM for Vergence, and we are ready to go. As you said last time, you had a tussle with a couple of demons. I think we can advance time unless you have some reason not to your getting yourselves back to the regular parts of the palace. I don't think you have any trouble doing that. Having the last remaining people from that night of the ball hanging around. Most of them have left. It is late at night. You're all rather tired. You head back to your quarters. You can, if you spend the day, much of the day just kind of sleeping, getting ready for the evening, then you would clear all your stress. And so if it's okay, we're going to call it the next day. Does that sound reasonable to everyone?
Sure.
What everybody felt the need to do in the meantime?
I would probably actually try to exchange the statue I have with the person I got it for, like, as soon as possible.
Okay.
And we can have that be on or off camera if you want. I can just have it be gone and allude to it later, or...
I would be happy for that contact to happen. Do you have I don't think we've worked out exactly how you would make that contact. Do you have a sense of that?
No, I guess that's a good point. Not that we've worked out, no.
Okay. I mean, you can come up with something. I'm not trying to...
Right.
I'm not trying to cut that off. I'm just... we hadn't figured that out, so...
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe it would happen at the ball, like, surreptitiously then. Yeah.
All right. So it's not a tiny thing. So if you're bringing it to the ball,
Well,
how would you?
I was thinking I would have a transfer stone to it,
Okay.
and then just like trade the transfer stone to someone.
Okay. That sounds entirely reasonable. So you've got it hidden in a safe place and are ready to make that transition.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that. Anyone else have anything that they wanted to do during that day? Okay, so we can advance to that evening. It is the third night of the ball. The third night is planned to begin with a banquet, and then after the banquet, more of the ball happening. anyone want to make any declarations about any fancy or less than fancy costuming that they're going to do for the night?
I think Valriaut is kind of the clothes horse of this particular group, so I think it's expected of me to have something new and different. I think I'm going as a lightning struck dryad. So we're gonna do, sort of woodland patterns. It's almost like bark, but in cloth of gold, and then from that tracery of scars that he got in his duel with Morgaine, it spreads down almost like this liquid blue silver filigree that goes down the left arm, and obviously like a woodland mask, but we're keeping the kind of hawk feather motif, like the owl. So
cool. So you are playing up the scar.
I'm feeling a little bit better now, so I'm moving with a few less hitches in my giddy up. Like, now we are beginning to see Valriaut once again underneath all of the smoke and ash. So now we're playing it up. Now it's a glorious victory. She's not supposed to be here anymore, so
right.
She might be safe.
Yeah, right.
And the scar is going to become part of your identity now, starting to integrate it all together into the legend that is Valriaut.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I like
cool.
it. So let's advance time to that evening.
Sure.
You are going to be heading back up to the palace. I'm going to say that this evening is within the city a very high level of celebration tonight. There are parades of mummers going through the city in various extraordinary costumes, parade floats, things like that. Up in the sky, there are fireworks going off. It's very loud, very boisterous, lots of stuff going on, and it takes you some extra time to get through the city to the train car that's going to take you up to the palace. There's a bit extra security there, but you have your invitations and are able to get past the Red Guard into your train up to the palace, and you shoot in your steam-powered pneumatic tube up to the balcony leading into the main ballroom of the palace. It is not as big a deal this night in terms of there's no big procession that goes on, but people do get announced as they come in, and it's still a thing. The main ballroom has been converted into a large banquet room, so there are a series of tables running through the whole room to seat many hundreds of people. And up in the balconies, there are people looking down, and there are a couple of orchestras kind of playing for you. Anything anybody wants to do during this phase of things? We can move along quickly through the banquet part. If anybody wants to kind of contribute ideas about what the what the courses of food might be. I know the Drakes here have a particular interest in food in gaming, so you can certainly contribute anything you want in terms of what that looks like. It could really just about anything you can imagine. I mean, things coming from across multiple universes, dinosaur steak, or anything you can think of would be a delicacy here in terms of preparation. I'm not great at thinking of those things, but if you want to add in any cool stuff, please feel free.
Just to plug our Discord, you did ask this on there, so if anyone feels like joining us and suggesting things for the games, come stop by.
Fans throwing in ideas for Vergence, that would be awesome.
Yes, right. Also true. Ray apparently is very good at coming up with menus.
He is, yes, yeah. Very good at coming up with many things.
Yes.
It had a story to tell throughout the menu.
Right.
I don't have a story to tell except for opulence. I really want there to be some kind of brandy drowned devilfish, fish, almost like I think it's like the most horrifying parts of a stingray and a squid kind of merged, but it was taken out of wherever it's from, drowned in brandy, and then flambéed. And it's horrifying looking, but it's delicious. You have to try it. You have to try this. Look at these.
I have no doubt. So that could be the first of the main courses. Would be that, along with lots of other interesting things. There are a variety of different alcoholic drinks from many different worlds being brought around by the servants. It's and let's say it's 3 main courses along with independent courses in between. How extensively do you eat? Do you stuff yourself on this amazing food? Do you eat very lightly? What's the sense of what you would do?
I would probably eat quite a lot, and also I would if someone would come around with a tray of things, and I would stop them and chat with them while eating just everything off of the tray.
Okay. That can happen several times.
Yep.
I think that Ananke at this point has convinced one of the waiters that in her home world, dessert is served first. So she's got this kind of pile of croquet bush and whatnot, which probably should have been served at the whole table, but it's just in front of her.
Yeah, you want the waiter to go off and let one of the chefs know that certain things need to be prepared in advance for one particular guest.
You have to be trouble. Why is it you're always trouble?
That chef has taken it as a personal project to provide you with suitable homeland appropriate desserts, and has, according to what he thinks people in the circle have for dessert, based on secondhand information from you passed on from a waiter. So,
what does the dessert look like on the serpent?
I don't know, but I imagine because it's secondhand, like a game of telephone, that it's mushrooms stuffed with a sweet cream, and it's actually kind of terrifying. So she's kind of picking up and going, it could be worse.
Right, but it's not quite like what you have at home.
Mm-hmm. It's horrifying.
And one of the chefs has contributed to that by creating something that is in the form of a twisted up serpent in an armor pattern that the other people at your table find really fascinating.
Would you like the head?
Is the head lucky?
Feels lucky at peeping it.
Yeah, I think Valriaut is determined not to stuff himself, but he isn't shying away from anything. I think he's eating very, very small portions of absolutely everything that comes out.
A tiny bit of everything.
Yeah, we can't let any of these. I can't let any of these things get away from me. These are all new experiences.
Well, I think this is one of those feasts where if you eat the smallest possible amount of everything, you're still stuffed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to die here.
And this one is called an M&M. You should try it.
What a strange little confection. From what world is it? What Umbrian has wrought such fine and intricate detail? Look at the tiny M.
And they come in different colors.
I will have to eat one of every one of them.
Oh, they all taste the same.
Yeah. Except for green.
How will we know unless we question them?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, of course, our Earth an infinite number of our Earth exists out there in this universe, right? I would say that Agorus, you are going to have to be seated at the head table with big important people, including your mother, Inhedron. So they're waving to you from in the fun tables, they're waving to you and having a lovely time. You do have a series of important and boring people coming up to say hello and greet you, and you're kind of having the experience of, boy, this is the fun part of being at the top of the hierarchy here, is just dealing with sort of the most boring nobles and visitors, ambassadors from all of the trading worlds that the caverns engage with, and you're having to make chit chat with extremely boring people for a while.
Yeah, and I think all of that serves the purpose of Agorus wanting to not eat, not to be dynamically opposed to Hrolf at all moments, but I think he's probably a little nervous about the whole demon thing, probably a little bit more focused, and not engaging with this whole feast thing, to the point where people coming and chatting with him gives him a almost pleasant excuse to not be stuffing his face.
Okay.
And I think other court members or people who are more versed at this are probably balancing this really awkward act where they have to be eating the right things and complimenting the delicacies from other worlds while simultaneously engaging these people.
Yep.
Unlike how Agorus is managing.
Yeah, because a whole series of ambassadors is kind of heading up to the head table with some little delicacy from their world that they want you and the queen and the princess and all of the important people they want to provide this as a special gift that is particularly amazing. So you keep being presented with these tiny little delicacies that you're supposed to take at least a tiny taste of and then be super complimentary about, even if they're disgusting. So that's a kind of a series of things that happen.
Yes, jellied slime eel. Delightful.
Yeah, it's the
wonder of your world.
It's truly amazing, yes. Especially since some of these people are not human and do not have a human set of taste buds, and therefore what they think is amazing is not necessarily what you think is amazing. So there's a whole protocol about being polite in these circumstances that you are at least sufficiently familiar with to follow. I'm going to say you're not going to insult anybody, but you're kind of going through this sort of process there.
Saffron slaughter tick, you say? No wonder.
Hrolf, I'm going to say that during a lull between courses, you've gotten up to stretch your legs because you were stuffing yourself, and an old gentleman who's kind of hunched over with a cane, looking very sort of jittery, kind of comes slowly over toward you and says, pardon me, young man, but I seem to have gotten myself a bit lost. Could you help me towards the necessary?
Of course.
All right.
Right this way.
Okay, he kind of takes your arm and you're kind of leading him along. And as he's sort of chatting with you, and as you're talking to him, you sort of notice a tiny glint of sort of darkness in his eyes, and he gives you a little smile, and you recognize him.
I had a feeling.
Someone you know. So his tone of voice goes from being very old and jittery to talking to you in much smoother, more comfortable tones. And he's still giving the appearance to all around as being this doddering old gentleman. But you are now having a chat with Tyron.
I think I also want to make this kind of smooth. So we get to another room or something, and I act like I'm joking, but I say now don't forget that I'm doing this for you. You owe me one. And I set down a transfer stone quietly on a table or something out of the way.
Okay, and he palms it without in a manner that people would not be noticing that he's done that. He simply passes his hand nearby, and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I recognize, I appreciate the favor you have done for me. I have over the years done a few favors for you, but we can continue this mutually agreeable relationship, and I acknowledge that you are one up on me.
Just
I
remember that
see.
it's not just me, but the Maelstrom and your clan uh, will can keep up such amicable relationships if we keep this up.
I believe I can speak for that. In partial payment for this, I do want to be clear with you. I heard that you had a bit of a tangle with some people of my race last night.
That's true. And I am casually leaning against this table and then like using a little bit of electricity to etch out a symbol on the table and say something like this or somewhat
Yeah,
from
something like
this.
that. Just to be clear, please understand that among demons there are a number of clans, and we are not all one. We are not all of the same political leanings or desires or goals. I hear that you tangled with some of Clan Drek, and in fact, I heard that Thresh escaped, but since last night he cannot stop yelling that the witch is in his head, and he can't get the witch out of his head. And I just it's simply wonderful. Thank you. Please pass on my thanks for that effect.
I assume this is not a friend of yours.
No, no, not at all. Uh, I There are two clans which are working on a bit of a plot in this region, and I cannot be seen to be working actively against them. From a political perspective, that would be extremely problematic. But please also understand that uh, I, I would be I would be rather pleased if things didn't work out to their advantage.
Is yours the other clan interested in this evening?
Mm, there are always interests mutually back and forth in these situations.
Um, well, if there is anything that you can share that would help both of us about this plot, I know certainly some people who I can point in the right direction and keep you safe.
Hmm. Well, I believe that one of the things that you or your compatriots, and by the way, I see that you've been consorting with that lickspittle Valriaut, and I must say that that is not the wisest course. You should not take his word as worth even the value of the air used to say whatever he is saying, because uh, he is well known for not being, a trustworthy individual.
Um,
But
okay, no. What are you gonna say?
but my understanding is that you recovered an artifact yesterday evening, um, and it is my understanding that the clan that you were tangling with is not pleased to have lost that.
Um, Perhaps I gave you that transfer stone too early, and I should have interrogated it myself. But um, surely, if anything of mutual interest arises from uh, that artifact, we can establish another exchange of favors.
That would be agreeable to me. As I said, I cannot be seen to be working actively against Clan Dreth. That would be quite dangerous for my own clan. But if there are actions that I can do to make things a bit harder for them, I am quite willing to do that.
I believe the steadfast leader of the demon hunters here stumbles about with his eyes closed, hoping to find the demons who plot against him.
He is a bit of a fanatic, isn't he?
But any symbols or signs of who he's looking for, I might, without revealing my sources, push him to trip in the right direction.
I would say that he should look. There are factions within Agorus that have allied with the demons of Clan Dreth, and that he should look to his own house.
Indeed. Well, I'm sure you will be gratified for your information.
Very good.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy the banquet.
And you as well. Thank you, young man, for your assistance. I'm not sure if I could have held out without your help. And then he stumbles off toward the restroom.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Oh, I should have maybe asked more about what he knew about Valriaut, but too late.
You're still in trouble. I'm just saying. I don't know yet.
So at some point further along in the banquet, I would approach Ananke and say, whatever you did down there seemed to really put off one of those demons. What was that trick?
I think first we're going to have to address the elephant in the room. How do you know that?
I saw it fleeing from you.
I can show you after the banquet. It's much easier than explaining.
I'd be very interested to see.
I think she's kind of given him the, you're up to something, Hrolf. I've known you a while. I'm onto you.
You got that look when you're cavorting with demons. Yes, the demon cavorting look.
Yeah, right, that one.
Or perhaps that slight whiff.
Is that Brimstone? Are you wearing Brimstone?
My new Brimstone clone.
Brimstone, my tyrant.
That seems reasonable in Agorus, actually.
Sure. I'm just trying to fit in. Something I just noticed because I was looking at the character sheet, a random question. Did we have a rest? Were we able to clear our stress and everything?
Yes, you were.
Okay, sorry.
So all of your stress is cleared. Any abilities that get cleared in between rests are reset.
Okay, cool.
All right, so I'm going to say that the banquet proceeds. If there's anything else anybody wants to do during that, you're certainly welcome to do that. But things wind down to an end of the banquet, and things move on toward the actual this night of dancing. So that means that everyone is asked to move off to the side so the servants can remove the tables. That is assisted by the fact that there are sort of steam catapults that can lower and raise the level of floor. So people step away, and sections of table slide downward, and then a few moments later they slide back up without as open dance floor. So it takes surprisingly little time to get things transitioned over to an open floor, and the first there's a series of toasts, and then the first set of dancing begins. The queen, as with last night, the queen and her entourage are up on a sort of raised balcony area. They do not have any pets being displayed this evening. So, does anybody want to do anything at this point, or we could move ahead? I know you had arranged to do a visit to the Royal Menagerie this evening, so we could just, you could slip away toward that if you wanted to around now, or you could try other things. Agorus, you would be able to make your way away from the formal table in order to at least make the excuse that you want to mingle and talk to people or go dance or whatever.
So how far is our run to the menagerie?
It's not that long, so it's all within the palace. So it's down, from the looking at the plans and conversing with your friends here who know the palace. It's down a long hallway, a few hundred yards walk, but it's not a billion miles away.
If no one has anything else I'd like to do, then I think it's time to release the diversion and just kind of slip out of here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Fine with me.
All right. So how exactly are you playing that? I'm very curious to find that out.
I think that it's just something as simple as kind of giving a signal. So she'll be over by the table, and then she'll kind of do something. She just kind of pushes her hair behind her ear, and the person she has arranged to at that point just start releasing all of the pigs into the party will kind of disappear, and she'll just wait for that moment when the squealing starts.
Okay.
Pink team, go.
We've been talking about this a bunch, but it's been since first session since we talked about what this plan was. You might want to give a recap.
So, you want to explain exactly what effect you're trying to have here, and what it's going to look like?
The game plan here is just to create such chaos in the ballroom because everyone's dancing in their finest clothes, and so many people wait for this night where the dance, it's all about the dancing, and so at that point, that's when we release the herd of greased up pigs, because it's hard to catch a pig, but it's really hard to catch one that's greased up, and we're just going to flood the ballroom so that they have to take a while to round up that particular problem.
Is the hope also that all of the animal wranglers from the menagerie have to come and help catch the greased up pigs?
Mm-hmm.
It's a bonus.
That could be a bonus. All right. So, and there were actually a couple of possible plans you had talked about. I just want to clarify, and possibly it's my poor memory. You had talked about a couple of possibilities. One is simply having a group of pigs that are in the larders in the kitchens, released through your spy and accomplices. The other one you had talked about was making a connection to a world of pigs and having your friends set up a transfer stone to connect to that. Did we ever resolve which of those plans you were going to try to do?
I think everyone else would be sorely disappointed if I did not say that we are opening a portal to the elemental plane of greased up pigs
Mm-hmm.
and releasing them into.
Okay.
That sentence is everything I ever wanted.
Who could possibly not be for this? All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a multiverse game. It has to be the elemental plane of pig.
There is some elemental plane of pigs out there somewhere. All right, so you are using a transfer stone to open this up. So over in one corner, you and your accomplices who have been setting this up for some time, getting this ready, suddenly open up a connection to this world, and pigs start going pop, 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 and squealing and running their way around the ballroom. At first, it seems like some of the guests just think this is just yet another one of the regular, attractions that's happening.
I asked the Dance of Pigs, as is tradition.
Yeah. Perhaps this is, a performance of trained pigs. They're going to be pig acrobats or something. You never know what's going to happen at one of these parties, But then they start creating havoc, and it's clearly not part of the plan to be jumping over guests and knocking over tables and running into the musicians and tripping the help who are wandering around with canapes and drinks. And so people start yelling and screaming. I think it would be reasonable to call for a roll to see how well this goes. So what?
So, I guess my question is it who is doing the summoning?
Yeah. So whether that's a thing that, it's to some degree a thing that Ananke has been working on for some time that we've kind of established. So it would make sense for her to make the roll regardless. But it's not necessarily an action that she is taking right now in the moment. It's sort of a whole series of flashback actions that we could.
Is there an argument that this might be like an engagement roll? Like this is it's a slip away?
Yeah, I think that if that's the way you want to run that, I think that is entirely a reasonable way to look at it. The different plans are ambush, assault, chase, infiltrate, investigate, and social. Which of those would you say fits best?
Infiltrating pigs.
We're kind of infiltrating. I feel like the pigs are ambushing.
Right.
Okay.
Pig ambush.
I would say infiltrate, right? This is just a setup for the infiltration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is sort of you are infiltrating. So you're using them as a distraction in order to infiltrate the menagerie. So that probably makes sense. So in some ways, this is a setup action, right? To make that work well. So how about we roll a setup action, and that can inform the engagement roll, if that makes sense. Let's have you roll an ability, an action rating. Which do you think?
I'm thinking it's probably contrive because she's been planning and plotting this for a while. That makes most sense to me.
Yeah, I think contrive fits best. So right now, you have 1 dot in contrive. Do you want to do anything to modify that, or do you just want to roll 1 die?
Can I hear a devil's bargain?
So 1 devil's bargain.
That was the elemental plane of bacon.
So 1 devil's bargain could be that this is going to be traced to you eventually.
Snakes love pigs.
I feel like I could probably shoulder that because Ananke's kind of a trickster anyway, so I think she can shoulder that without it leading to, so you must have done these other terrible things.
Let me pitch something real quick. I've got a transfer stone. I know that this is coming together. I'm already persona non grata. Can I flash back to have given her my transfer stone for this purpose?
So it traces back to you?
So it traces back to me?
And so that it's gonna appear to people that you're the one who did this?
My legend can withstand this.
Withstand this? Because understand that she's a foreigner and could potentially, she doesn't have to live with these people. And you're local.
Neither do I. I wander all over the multiverse. How long has it been since I've been here?
So you might find yourself in having to spend some years away from your homeworld
If Morgaine can do it, what makes you think I cannot?
Okay. So yeah, no, I'm okay with that. If you want to take that devil's bargain, it's going to come back to hit Valriaut.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
That is 2 dice for me.
Yes. And
So many pigs, just all the pigs.
Whatever number of pigs you're thinking, double it.
So many pigs, so much disruption, so much screaming and yelling, and people in large ball gowns toppling upside down.
I'm imagining one person who's in a pig costume who's just unfazed.
Yeah.
So what were you doing at that transfer stone that I lent you?
In fact, that person in the pig costume is trying to figure out how he can take can set the rumor that was actually this is all his doing. In order to allow this. Yeah. So it's very successful. I'm going to say that for the engagement roll, the base is 2 dice. I'm going to say that's worth an extra die, so that's 3 dice.
Before the engagement roll, back in the ballroom and everything, and before probably the absolute chaos breaks out, I'm sure there's maybe the queen doesn't have a problem. Maybe there's literally just red guards there that are nah, go away pigs or something. Maybe they can just sit calmly.
Yeah,
but
so I'm going to say that you look up at your mother, and she's actually sitting up on she's away from the pigs are not affecting her directly. There are red guards in front of her. She actually looks incredibly amused by all of this.
Oh, very rude. I was gonna ask to have a short conversation with the queen, with mother.
Okay, so we can flash back to how far back do you want to flash back for that?
I would just before the pigs break out. I was just gonna have a short conversation, see,
right,
and then
so
use the pigs as the getaway excuse.
Okay, so we'll say it's just after the banquet shut down. The people are setting up for the first round of dancing, and you certainly could approach Queen Inhedron, your mother.
Yeah. So it's after all the food and stuff. After I've probably given a display of courtly dishonor to some degree, probably like I do most of the time, anyways.
You just come across as just a little too disinterested in all of this.
Yeah. And yeah, so I guess I'll approach. Gosh, I cannot pronounce the name offhand. Inhedron?
Yeah, Inhedron is your.
Okay. I don't know. Would I even refer? I just say mother probably, but
yeah,
I would approach her and just kind of, especially with Jelamun not nearby, I would like to go up to her and be like, Mother, I have a question. I know that I'm not the best at these courtly affairs, but I was curious how Jelamun has been doing recently. I've been very focused on other things. I was just wondering if you had an eye on her.
A bit. You've been doing a bit better than you used to. You hide the disdain better than you did in years past. But I haven't seen Jelamun this evening recently. She seems to have wandered off sometime before the banquet ended.
Yes, but the I don't know, months prior, I know that she engages in these courtly affairs far more actively than I do. She relishes the pain on the faces of people when she is able to put them in their places. But has she been acting strangely to you at all?
Well, she's always been an odd girl, as you know, and the last few months she has mostly been away from court, out in the Umbra, pursuing whatever schemes or diversions she does. So I haven't had a close look at her. Other than that, nothing comes to mind specifically.
Away from the conversation for a moment. How involved do you think the Queen would be in the whole demonic, like, suppression, like, my role in this world, right? Because, like, I have an official title, I have, like, a job. I imagine it's more than just being crazy, you know what I mean? Like, maybe some people think I take it a little too seriously, but how seriously does she take it, you know?
Sure. Well, to some degree, you can define that for your character in terms of where that ranks in the hierarchy. But I would say that you are expected to report to her on a periodic basis in terms of progress and suspicions and plots and concerns. That she does take it seriously because it's one of many potential threats to the realm. It's not the only threat that she is concerned with, but it is certainly historically one that was a significant problem and periodically comes up as a significant threat. And so she's perfectly willing to listen to you if you have concerns, and she does not treat you as just a foolish nutcase about this.
Okay. In that case, I'd like to give her the, like, medallion or the token from that first demon that ambushed us. And then I'll say to her, I know that I haven't been terribly open recently in the matters of the Heliodor. However, last night, while a number of guests and I were down in the catacombs, we had to defend ourselves from demons. I have suspected for a while that this ball may be linked to some sort of ritual, but I have been able to uncover very little involving the purpose or who is involved. So far, all I have vaguely is this symbol belonging to a clan of demons. I don't know how deep it runs, but I need you to be as guarded as you possibly can.
All right. Well, I will inform the Red Guard of your concerns. Are there any resources or assistance that you need to pursue your investigations at this point?
I think Agorus would just kind of shake his head. None besides any courtly intrigue that you probably would have informed me of already.
Yeah, you're generally aware of what's going on in court. So,
Right.
So to be clear, you're not asking her for something. You're just warning her.
Yes.
Is your goal at this point. All right, so she takes it seriously. She asks you to report any additional events that may occur or other information that you acquire about any significant or imminent plot that may be occurring.
I guess as a generic, she's older than I am, of course, so...
Hard to do it otherwise, yes.
Well, time travel, come on, we can do it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything significant about the ball. If there's anything, like, if the ball's on a sacred time period or, like, you know what I mean, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, we'd established that the ball was occurring during a harmonic across the Umbra, centering in the in Agorus. So so this does correspond with an event of increased dimensional connection at this point. The Agorus actually takes advantage of this. This is a great time to expand pathways and trade networks because it's a little easier to make connections out from the caverns out into the Umbra. So over the next several months, there'll be actually a big push to do that.
Yeah. Okay. That's all good then.
All right. So
And then as the pig fiasco breaks out, I'll excuse myself.
okay.
Oh, look at the time. It's pigs now.
Yeah. But as you're walking away, you do see, the pigs running around, people getting knocked over by pigs, yelling, screaming, and you see your mother. She was standing up and talking to you. She goes back over to her seat, sits down, crosses her arms, and just kind of looks around with sort of amused expression on her face.
She whispers, Valriaut.
I instinctively shudder, and I don't know why.
Yeah, somebody's talking about you behind your back.
Somewhere, something has just gone terribly wrong.
Yep.
No matter.
All right, so that's an engagement roll. So that we're looking at 3 dice. Did that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we get a 4. So that is risky position for your action at this point, and I think that makes pretty good sense within the fiction. So you're using this disturbance to sneak off toward the Royal Menagerie. Okay. I'm going to say that you're not going to have any trouble doing that. The 3 of you are heading off in that direction. You certainly, as you're walking away from folks, you would have a few moments to be able to talk amongst yourselves if you want to do any planning or passing information across to each other. This would be a perfectly fine time to do that.
I slip a note that I have written, but I claim someone else has, to Agorus, saying, like, I ran into our spy just before this. He had some information.
It's signed Hrolf.
It's signed, not Hrolf.
Hrolf. Yeah. No, I would.
Floor.
Mm-hmm. No, I would sign it. I would have someone else write it or something like that for me, and then hand it off to you. It says, there is a ally of the demons amongst the Agorosian family. Was it the family, or was it just the Agorosians in general that the tip was?
He said that Agorus should look to his own house.
House. Okay, so I would use the same wording.
Okay.
Sure. So we bump into each other. Are you going with them, offhand?
I'm going to meet Ananke and Valriaut. I imagine, right?
You certainly can.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And is Agorus going? Are you all kind of heading off in that direction together, or?
That's what I was planning. Yeah.
I think unless they contact me, because I'm sure somebody has a stone linked to me at some point. I think Agorus might wander away to try to find Jelamun.
Okay.
Which is not a terrible idea at all.
How would you try to do that?
I guess start speaking to other people of the court about the pig mess, and then have you seen my sister?
Maybe you're concerned about your sister amidst all of the...
Did she have to go change?
Chaos? Yeah.
Awful lot of pigs. Where's my sister? Not all related, I promise. Just makes me think, where is my sister?
So you talk to a few people who don't know what's up with your sister. You eventually, after a little while, you find someone who is able to say that she saw your sister with a few of the courtiers that she normally spends time with, sort of her circle, that they were chatting over there, but they seem to have, that happened just after the banquet ended, but they seem to have wandered off someplace. They're not quite sure, but they were over that way when last seen.
Yeah. And I'm fine for this to be off screen entirely. I'll start stumbling around in the dark then.
Okay, all right. So while you do that, I'm gonna jump to the other three. So the three of you are heading off to toward the menagerie.
I think Valriaut is maybe a step behind Ananke, and he's like, okay, so you have obviously thought about this quite a lot, that the thing with the pigs, that was masterful, but do you have anything approaching a plan? Everybody's always asking me. I am so happy to be asking this of you.
I'm working on it.
See, that's what I always tell them, and they always say that you have to have a plan before you do things. This is good. I like your style. I like your lack of style.
I catch up and say, I had a perfect plan.
Yes, and then demons.
Yeah,
Very
right.
strange.
Yeah.
That wasn't part of the plan, right?
No. I had a perfect plan and then demons. You just didn't get to see the whole perfect plan.
I was rather hoping you had more demons that I could borrow right now, but we'll make do.
We can do it with demons.
How would demons help?
Very poorly. Demons don't help anybody.
Well,
Who do we go after? Do we go after the demons or the person stealing the dragon?
Fair enough, I see your point, but also that is something of a complication, do you not think? Also, where did my transfer stone go?
Where do you think I got the pigs?
Oh no. That's okay, that is a problem for later. I am not sure how I will blind further demons, so let's hope we run into no further ones.
yes. So suddenly certain complications occur to Valriaut.
It's sort of like that Wile E. Coyote look, like right when he sees the train coming.
Right. Not quite there, but it's coming.
Later, that's fine.
Later. Yep. Meanwhile, so you head off there, through some doors. There's a series of corridor shifts that you would go. Eventually, you actually see a series of signs on the hall, along the hallway saying Royal Menagerie this way. And you're heading along in that direction. And Ananke, you start to get within range of being able to communicate with Kith, the dragon. So he feels you, and there's sort of, it's as you approach, it starts with just kind of a connection, like he's reaching out toward you, but their words are not coming through. And then as you get closer, he starts talking to you. Tell me if this doesn't fit what you want to be doing. But he says, Ananke, hello. Is this when you're rescuing me?
That would be now, yes.
Excellent, wonderful. I love that idea. Is there a disguise? Can I wear a disguise?
Do you want a disguise?
I would love a disguise. That would be awesome.
I think she's gonna look over at Valriaut and he's always got something going on. She's gonna snatch some of his feathers or something.
I was wearing that incredibly well.
My dragon needs it more.
I'm sorry, I had something crazy in my ear. Go ahead and tell me again.
Later.
Okay, fair enough. Stop snatching at my feathers.
All right, so you're moving down the hallway. Are you trying to do this? There are servants moving back and forth, and other people through the halls. Some of them seem to be running down the hall toward the ballroom to help deal with the events happening in the ballroom. Are you trying to do this fast and kind of get there as quickly as possible? Are you trying to be very kind of casual about it? What's your kind of approach that you're taking?
I think it actually makes sense to be moving fast here because we can be running and yelling. There's pigs in that. Somebody has to do something, and I think that's kind of what we use to kind of just go forward.
Okay, so you're jogging along down the hallway.
Pigs.
And
They're over that way. It's horrible. They're 800 pound sounds.
and you do see a few people from the Royal Menagerie who appear to have been summoned as animal handlers, and they have the kind of equipment that you would have in a zoo for managing wayward animals to kind of pin them down, or loops on the end of a stick to capture them. Some of the equipment looks like it would work well for a pig. Some of it seems like it would be for some other kind of animal, but they grabbed it because it happened to be at hand. But there are a number of people running past you in that direction, not paying you a whole lot of mind.
I got the catch poles. I'm not running empty-handed. I'm going to take the rake.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're gonna grab a rake from somebody's hands and say,
No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I think we're doing this fast though, right? So
Yeah, we're trying to get to the menagerie while everybody's running.
Okay.
We're just joining in the running.
All right. So Kith is chatting with you, and as you're kind of starting to get closer to the menagerie, you're seeing, following the signs, not too hard to find your way there. Kith says, you sent some friends. She says that there seem to be some others here who they're opening up the cage. So they're with you, right?
No, they're not.
No. No. They've got some kind of. I don't think this is. I don't know what and the connection ends.
How far away are we from the menagerie?
You are just arriving at the main door to the menagerie.
Okay. This might be a good time to take a break, but I do have an idea for when we get back. It's
Okay.
7:30.
I'm good.
All right, everyone. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned, and we'll find out what happens next.
Oh man.
Yeah.